What's up, guys? How are you? Welcome into a Friday morning episode of the Daily Juice Podcast. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all my socials at Sports Talk Matt. And as you guys can see or hear, I'm back in New Hampshire, after the trip to DC. Thank you for everybody who wished me a Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you guys as well. And we are off and running here in 2025, day number 3 for us. To recap last night, I do not know what basketball outcome bestowed upon us because that game tips off at 10 o'clock on the East. And I am not staying up for Oregon basketball, so we'll see how Oregon plays tonight. But Notre Dame does win. That hedged off of the Georgia, so the Irish come through with a big victory, and they get the 1 unit for us. Georgia at plus 600 goes down, so we are flat for the day today on a Thursday into a Friday. So a couple quick thoughts on Notre Dame and the loss for Georgia. So I was on the plane watching it, so I can't say I was watching it as closely as I normally do on a big screen TV, but I was very impressed with the Irish. I'm very impressed with their defense more than anything. And I think when you look at the way that Riley Leonard plays and his ability to keep plays alive with his legs, he really is a difference maker for that offense because they can play smash mouth. Notre Dame always has great offensive linemen. I mean, that's what they've had. Their wide receivers are good enough. They're good. They're good enough to be, top 10 caliber. The running game, obviously, with Love is tremendous. They've always had that. But now they've got a quarterback who can really hurt defenses. When there's nothing open, he can pick up first downs. I felt like that really hurt Georgia as they simply couldn't get off the field. There's too many third down conversions, too many missed opportunities. And when you're playing with a quarterback, I mean, right at the end of the half, that strip sack that wound up being a touchdown at the end of the half, that was such a massive, massive loss. Huge, huge momentum gain for Notre Dame to go up 13-10. And like I talked about, 4-0. I don't know if you guys bet it or not, but if you did, you went 4-0 taking teams that played in the opening round of the playoffs against the number. They went 4-0. So every team that went on a bye lost, okay? I talked about this dating back in August. I thought that the teams playing a home game that got a taste of playoff football would have a big advantage. And boy, did they ever. All 4 teams lost. They got byes. So coming up next year, I would expect a big change in the way that these things are seeded. Teams are going to not want to play a bye, have a bye. Teams are going to want to have a home game because of the atmosphere and because of just the rhythm of it all, keeping themselves in shape and keeping themselves in game shape. I mean, look at Cam Scatterbo. Look how much, he hadn't played in a fourth quarter or an overtime for so long. He was puking on the sidelines because he had, just conditioning issues just about having to play so much football. So I think teams are really going to take a hard look at this. Not to say that they're going to throw at things or anything to they want not to win the conference championship or something, but I think we're going to see a big change in the way that the tournament is seeded coming up next year. But I do have 2 college football bets to give you guys, including one semifinal bet, one future play that I will tell you about here in just 1 second. And then we've got a college basketball play that I want to get into here on a Friday night. Obviously, we've got a lot of NFL coming up on Saturday, a lot of NFL coming up on Sunday. It's week 18 in the NFL with 2 games on Saturday and a ton of games on Sunday. So we've got those going for us here today, and we're going to talk about that a lot on Saturday and Sunday. So just one game here on a Friday to talk about from a college basketball perspective. I don't like either bowl game, although if I had to be forced, I would take Va Tech plus the points. Just too many points, I think, in a bowl game like that in the Duke Mayo Bowl. But other than that, there's nothing really that jumps off the page for me when it comes to that. But we do have some cool things to give you guys here from an announcement standpoint. And congratulations are in order as it's time to award the signed Stephon Diggs Texans jersey, Stink Mangini, if I'm saying it right. Mangini. Congratulations. Please get in touch with our customer support agents at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address and proof of your subscription to the BettingPros YouTube channel, and you will get shipped out directly to you the signed Stephon Diggs Texans jersey. Again, Stink, congratulations. Mangione, however we say your last name, congratulations, Stink. You have won the signed autograph Stephon Diggs jersey. And if you would like to be a part of this and you'd like to win our next giveaway, you could win a free signed Jalen Waddle jersey. How do you go about doing that? Well, it's pretty easy. If you want that chance to win the signed free Jalen Waddle Dolphins jersey, courtesy of our friends at pristineauction.com, all you have to do is subscribe to the Betting Pros YouTube channel right now. Drop a comment below on any of our videos, and that's it. We will be announcing the winner right here on the Betting Pros YouTube channel, so make sure you have turned on your notification so you can be alerted when new videos are up, and you can claim your prize when, just like Stink, we make the announcement that you have been the lucky recipient, the winner of this month's giveaway. This month, it's a signed Jalen Waddle jersey, Dolphins jersey, from our friends at pristineauction.com. All right, let's talk about Notre Dame and Penn State. This has been a very chalky tournament, okay? This has been a somewhat predictable tournament as to what has happened and what should happen. Notre Dame's going to beat Penn State, okay? I am not trusting James Franklin, not by any means. Now, I get it. Marcus Freeman, what has he won, okay? Marcus Freeman has not exactly been the greatest of coaches in power spots, but there's certain confidences that come when you play at certain schools. And to me, James Franklin does not have the pedigree or the background to take Penn State to a national championship game. Notre Dame, I don't think either one of these teams will beat Ohio State, but I don't think we're getting an all Big Ten championship game. I don't think that's happening. I think Ohio State is going to win the national championship. I don't think anybody's beating them. Okay, I think Ohio State has been the most talented team all year, and they finally woke up and realized it. They finally realized, like, oh yeah, that's right, we're Ohio State. After losing to Michigan, which is the best thing that could have happened to them, they got the rest. They got to sit back and watch the Big Ten title game and get really angry about it. And I think they are just Trista Crick, who's a phenomenal social media follow and somebody who has been on my other show quite a bit, has worked for a variety of media outlets. She called Ohio State a badger in a box. It's a great analogy. Not that it's a Wisconsin badger, but like a pissed off animal in a small confined area that's going to rip your head off and rip your face off to get out and through you. And that's what Ohio State did to Oregon. I mean, just blitzed them, just blasted them from the word go. It was 31-0 before we said go. Game over. No one's beating Ohio State. Okay? No one's beating Ohio State. This team is far too talented. And they're not going to play an arch rival. They're not going to play someone they got to really worry all that much about. I'm not sure if these games are going to be close. Texas is going to have a big problem. They got a big problem. And their defense will keep them in the game. Okay, their defense, but I don't think they're going to be able to guard and cover the wide receivers for Ohio State. And Will Howard just playing at an incredible level right now, but that defense for Ohio State is just ridiculous. Quinn Ewers is going to have a big problem. Okay, the receivers for Texas, they just don't get open enough for me. Like I don't. So more on them here in just 1 second. But the numbers for James Franklin, he's 7-25 straight up as an underdog. Penn State hasn't won as an underdog since 2021. I mean, Franklin is a dominant from between 6 and 24 points. James Franklin is an automatic bet on. We've talked about this. But against top 5 opponents, this dude is 1-17 straight up. Okay. And Notre Dame is a top 5 opponent. Okay. They're a top 5 team. They're just as good as anybody in the country. And if Penn State was favored in this game, I would say, okay, Penn State's going to win this game. But even at a pick, I would take Notre Dame. But I can't see Penn State going off as a favorite in this game. The Irish, I think, will be the favorite. And I'll take it now before it gets too high. I mean, I'll take it right now with Penn State and Notre Dame in the national semifinal. Notre Dame laying 1.5 points. I'll take it now before this number starts to climb. And I think this number will climb. I think we'll get to 2.5. I think we might even get to 3 before it's all said and done. As people start to wake up and they watch injuries, I'll take an early play on this. I'll take an early number, and I'll jump in here, and I'll take Notre Dame. I'm going to lay the 1.5 points here with the Irish up against Penn State. Again, I'm not in love with Marcus Freeman, but I think Drew Aller's got he's coming back already for a reason, okay? I don't think Penn State's going to score on that Irish defense. I think they're going to have a really hard time running the football. Georgia sure as heck did. I don't think that they can have a game where Drew Aller is back there throwing the ball 25, 30 times against that secondary for the Irish. I think they're too opportunistic. I think they'll turn the football over. And frankly, Penn State's defense it can be had. We saw what Oregon did to it, okay? And I felt like there were moments in the game with Penn State in their quarterfinal game that, they could have given up more points than they did. And so I think the Irish will take advantage. I think it's a low-scoring game. I'll probably be on the under as well, but I want to wait and see what that number does over the next couple of days. But initially, just first blush, jumping in early. Irish -1.5 for 1.1 units. I'll take it now simply because I think that the number is going to climb, and I don't want it to be higher than 2, 2.5, 3. I don't want it. I'll take it now. Notre Dame -1.5 for 1.1 units in the semifinal to beat Penn State and make it to the national championship game. On the other side of the bracket, let's talk about Ohio State. So Ohio State's a big favorite here, okay? And Ohio State being as big of a favorite as they are in their matchup, I take a look at the number at 6 and go, man, we might get 6.5. It's -225 on the money line. Rather than play that number, because I think Ohio State's beating Texas and making the national championship game, we know that if Ohio State plays Notre Dame, they're probably going to be 3.5-point favorites or higher, right? Okay. So this is sort of a play on Ohio State getting a +110. You could say, Matt, what about just like rolling it over? But -225, I don't want to lay that type of juice with Ohio State against Texas. I think Ohio State beats Texas. I think the +110 is too good to pass up. I think you got to jump on it. Ohio State to win the national championship is +110, 1 unit, take it. It's better money line play in the national championship game. It's a better price that we're going to get. They're going to be big favorites, -230, -240. I mean, these are numbers that we're going to see here for the Ohio State Buckeyes if they're facing either Penn State or if they play Penn State or they play Notre Dame. They're going to be big favorites over both, probably a bigger favorite than they are over Texas, to be quite honest. So this is just simply, if you like Ohio State to beat Texas, why not bet them to win the national championship and don't even play around with either one of these games? Lay the 1 unit on Ohio State +110 money line to win the national championship, to beat Texas and to beat whoever is on the other side of the bracket here. And frankly, we'll be able to hedge off of it if you want. I mean, you can come in and play depending on what the number is. If it's too high, we can take a plus on the dog, take +6, +7, whatever it might wind up being. And maybe Ohio State wins, but they don't cover in the national championship game, and we hit both bets. So just a way of taking a position early here in the semifinal final matchups with Ohio State at +110 to win the national championship for 1 unit. So the Irish -1.5 against Penn State in the first semifinal, and Ohio State to win the national championship at +110 for 1 unit. Now, Friday night college basketball, just one bet for us here tonight, and Marquette is hosting the Creighton Blue Jays. The Jays have lost at home this year to Nebraska. They have lost here, they lost in Vegas badly to San Diego State. They lost by 4 to Texas A&M. They lost on the road at Alabama. They lost on the road at Georgia. And now they have a team in Marquette that is just playing incredible basketball right now. The Jays, according to KenPom, will lose this game by 11 points. The current number is 8.5. I think this is a really bad matchup for the Creighton Blue Jays. Cam Jones is so darn good. Without Pop Isaacs on this roster, Stephen Ashworth can't cover this guy. And then I think when you talk about the bench players coming in, whether it be Neal, McAndrew can't guard him. There's no way. I mean, I just don't think there's nobody who can stop Cam Jones here. Marquette is 12th in offensive efficiency. They're 71st in effective field goal percentage. They don't hit threes, but they don't need to because they're in the top 25 of 2-point percentage in the country. And frankly, the Creighton offense just has not been good this year. And I just think it's calling it what it is. The Jays have to hit threes, and they're outside the top 100 in 3-point shooting. That just simply isn't going to get it done. They turn the basketball over way too many times, and Marquette is in the top 10 in turnover percentage. They turn you over. It's Shaka Smart. It's what they do. This is a 9 p.m. Eastern time game on Fox Sports 1. This is a bad matchup. You have a Marquette school right now that currently they lost to Iowa State on the road badly, but that was a tight game of runs. We were on Iowa State in that game. And they lost to Dayton on the road, but then they bounced back with wins at Xavier and at Providence. They've won games against Butler at home this year. They've beaten Georgia on a neutral. They beat Purdue at home. They beat Maryland on the road. This is a tournament team. This is a really talented team, and I think Shaka Smart's team is really going to frustrate the holy heck out of the Creighton Blue Jays. I think they'll have a defensive game plan to shut down Kalkbrenner on the inside. I think this is ugly. I'll lay the 8.5 points here. Marquette minus 8.5 for 1.1 units to take the Jays and blow the Jays out tonight here on a Friday night. So plays for us here. Notre Dame minus 1.5 and one national semifinal for football. Ohio State to win the national championship at plus 110 for 1 unit. And Marquette laying 8.5 at home against the Creighton Blue Jays for 1.1 units. My name is Matt Perrault. You guys can follow me across all of my socials at Sports Talk Matt every morning. It's the Daily Juice Podcast, wherever you guys get your podcasts.